What's up, boo? Welcome to this week's episode of Bad Luck and Magic. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get into it. Let's get into what the vibes are for this week. And this week is all about taking action in a more intentional way, especially when it comes to how we care for ourselves. So, how was last week for you? How was the full moon in Leo? Really, when we experienced full moon in Leo last week, it was all about our fears and limiting beliefs being illuminated to us, reflecting a mirror on how we keep ourselves small and avoid taking the courageous actions that we need in order to grow. Right now, we're kind of going through this process of shedding everything that we no longer need, that doesn't serve us anymore. If you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you know that we are in a year 9 in terms of numerology. So 2025, if you add those numbers up, it equals 9. And 9s represent closing out a cycle and really shedding what no longer serves us. Because as we get into 2026, we will be on a 1 cycle, a 1 in terms of numerology, and that is all about starting a new chapter, starting a new cycle. So we're taking everything that we've learned over the last 9 years and trying to sift through, okay, what have we learned? What do we want to integrate and actually be? And what are the parts that that don't even resonate with us on a soul level anymore, so that we can shed those thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and ways of being and really step into a more aligned self. So this full moon in Leo was bringing up a lot of that for us. And what I was kind of thinking about too is it possible to be grateful for the challenges that are coming up right now? Like, I feel as though sometimes it's an experiment of how we can decide to exercise free will and do things differently than we've done it in the past. So, for example, last week was interesting for me. Full moon in Leo, I was feeling very stressed about stuff going on at my home. Issues that I don't know the details about. I don't know, I won't get into all the details, but I guess it's like what I learned is, okay, this situation was overwhelming, frustrating, all of that, but it was an opportunity for me to be like, bitch, just get your shit together, get the information you need to get, and make a decision. Like, quit sitting on the fence, quit acting like somebody's gonna come save you or whatever, or that you don't have any power. Like, girl, literally it's fine, just take care of it. And not to, like, if you experience something like that too, it's like not to minimize those feelings of, oh, I feel frustrated and overwhelmed. No, we have to feel those feelings. That is what tells us like how we can best not react, but engage with the situation. Does that make sense? And it's like, honestly, after I dealt with my issues last week and I was able to step into this more confident and courageous version of myself, I felt so much more confident in myself. I felt, damn, like no matter what comes towards me, I'm gonna be able to handle it. So hopefully you had a great full moon last week, even if it was stressful. Hopefully you were able to take some bits and pieces of appreciation and gratitude for whatever was going on for you. Because the whole point was to illuminate areas where we have grown in terms of our confidence and courage, and recognizing some of our patterns and our habits that are still holding us back, that we can like recognize and be like, okay, that no longer serves me, I'm going to show up in a different way. So this week we begin the week with the sun moving into compassionate, creative, and intuitive Pisces. So we have so many planets and placements in Pisces at the moment. We have the North Node, we have Neptune, we have Saturn, we have Mercury, and now we have the sun, which means the Pisces area of our charts are going to have a lot more action than usual over the next month or so. And we are being asked to follow our intuition, continue to have faith in something greater than ourselves, but also, as much as we can, staying grounded and know that we can't just be idealistic. Like, we have to take grounded action steps to make these dreams a reality, right? So that's going to be happening. And then we end this upcoming week with Mars finally going direct in Cancer after slowing down and asking us to hold off on taking action since December 6th of 2024. So since that time, we may have been experiencing more setbacks, conflicts, or tension around our private life, home, our sense of security, our emotional foundation, our family dynamics, our living situations. So much shit, okay? And now that Mars is going direct, we're going to have more clarity around the action that we're ready to take, especially when it comes to caring for ourselves and our own personal need for comfort and safety, and what that even means for us, because I think for different people, it's going to mean different things. But thank God, especially if you have, like, if you're an Aries rising sun or moon, or if you're a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, like, since we're ruled by Mars, the fact that Mars has been turning inward instead of turning outward and trying to make some progress, which is what it's all about, it's been a trying time. It has been a trying time. So just know that we are going to have a little bit more reprieve here soon as Mars stations direct and starts to move forward again. And the beauty of retrogrades is that it allows us a period of inward reflection, and depending on what planet is retrograde really dictates what we're going to be turning inward on. So when it comes to Mars, we're turning inward on how we take action and what motivates us. So a lot, whether we realize it or not, those themes have been coming up for us, and it's an opportunity for us to reflect. And once it goes direct, we take action and we're motivated in a different way because we've gained a new perspective. So that's pretty cool. And I will say, I think it's the last week of February. I believe we'll have every single planet going direct. We've had a lot of retrogrades, like since the last half of last year up until now. We've had a lot of retrogrades. So it's been a lot of introspection. It's been a lot of turning inward to figure things out rather than having external things happening, if that makes sense. Things have probably felt like a little slowed down, a little stagnant, but things will be changing soon. I will say the first week of March, we will have Venus turn retrograde, and I believe Mercury will be going retrograde as well, and we'll have some eclipses in March. So March, I don't even know. March is kind of like, hold on to your money, hold on to, don't make any huge changes when it comes to your beauty or appearance or who you are connecting with. Like, don't make any major love decisions or even financial decisions in March, April. And just reflect on, as Mercury goes retrograde, we're going to be reflecting on how we're communicating, what we're thinking about, our ideas, all of that. So it's not a bad thing. It's just a chance to turn inward. And then once those go direct, like, God, please let us have a little break, because I'm tired. I don't know about y'all, but I am tired. But you know what? I've been reading Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, and honestly, that is giving me hope and life. So if you need some of that, I highly suggest reading that book. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of what's going on this week. This week we also have the moon traveling through 4 different signs, and as I mentioned every week, it's like the moon represents our emotions. So this is where our emotions are going to be focused over the next week. And depending on what your rising sign is, the moon will be transiting through a different area of your life. So it's always interesting to look at it based on the zodiac theme. So like if it's moving through Libra, we're going to be more focused on creating balance, harmony within our life and our relationships. But it also depends on what area of your chart that rules over for you. So for me, for example, it rules over my 2nd house. So I'm going to be trying to find balance when it comes to, and harmony when it comes to my self-worth, my values, and also my finances. And that seems accurate. That seems like something I need to be working on. Okay, so beginning of the week, we'll have the moon transiting through Libra. So again, those themes of balance, harmony, and relationships will be present. Then the moon will be moving into Scorpio. So when the moon is in Scorpio, our emotions can feel kind of intense. They have a depth about them that maybe we don't experience when the moon's in Libra, for example, because Libra is trying to have this light, airy harmony with everyone. But when it comes to Scorpio, it's like that's out the window. We're trying to get down to business. We're trying to uncover the depths of our soul and the soul of the people around us. We want to be an investigator. We want to understand the inner workings of our minds and of our hearts. So Scorpio can feel a little intense, but there's also this sense of transformation and death and rebirth. So it could be this week, as the moon transits through Scorpio, you're recognizing how your emotions are being transformed in some way. As we move into Sagittarius, the moon moving into Sagittarius, we might be feeling more optimistic, more expansive, more honest with our feelings and emotions. And as we close out the week, the moon will be in Capricorn. So we'll be feeling more focused on our goals, focused on our long term, and feeling more resilient than maybe we have over the previous few days. So the moon traveling through those signs. What else was I going to say about that? Okay, so obviously we had the full moon last week. So that would have been on Wednesday. So as the full moon like turns into a waning gibbous, right? That means that we're going to be focused, like, okay, sorry guys. So when we had the full moon last week, we had this culmination, this peak moment, this like major events typically happen towards the full moon, right? So there's like this big crescendo of action, events, things happening. Even our emotions, like you might notice that if you cry once a month, it's typically around a full moon. Now, as the energy is shifting, because we are experiencing a waning gibbous, we're going to be focused more on gratitude and appreciation of where we are now, what we let go, what we are shedding. We are reflecting on our achievements, what's been going well for us. And it's also this moment where we have the ability to share more wisdom with other people, sharing what we've been learning, what we've been integrating. Okay, that's what I want to say about that. That's great. Okay, moving on, bad luck and magic of the week. I've kind of switched this up a little bit, but basically we're going to look at the most challenging aspect of the week, talk through how we can utilize this challenge and actually make it into an opportunity. So, Mercury is in Pisces and is making a square, which is a tense aspect to Jupiter and Gemini. Okay? When we have square aspects in astrology, they are opportunities for growth. It creates this tension between two areas of our lives that is essentially like forces us to take action and do something, right? Like we can't just sit back and hope things will just resolve themselves. It's like, no, we're gonna create some uncomfortable moments so that you step up to the plate, because the universe is like, I know you have it in you. Here's this opportunity to see for yourself everything that you can do. Or at least that's how I like to look at it. Because if I'm just thinking, oh, this is some bullshit and this is gonna be just a problem, then it's hard for me to engage with it. So it's really about growth. It's really an opportunity for growth, okay? And the thing with squares is we have, how do I want to break this down in a way that's not confusing? Okay. So we have different modalities. For all the 12 zodiac signs, there are cardinal signs, fixed signs, and mutable signs. I'm trying to make sure I don't get too in the weeds here, but since these two planets are in Pisces and Gemini, I know that these are mutable signs. That means that these, like Pisces season and Gemini season, for example, they happen at the end of a season. So like winter, Pisces is the end of winter because it's a mutable sign and it's ready to change into a new season, which will be spring. We have Gemini. Gemini is the last sign of the spring season. So Gemini turns into summer because afterwards is Cancer, right? And that starts summer. Okay. Mutable signs are all about being flexible, being adaptable, changing. They want change. They love change. They thrive on change. So when we have a square, it's always two planets in signs that are the same modality. Okay, so these two right here, Mercury and Jupiter, they're in mutable signs, Pisces and Gemini. Okay, and that means Mercury, how we're thinking, how we're communicating, what we're saying, the ideas we're having, they're feeling very intuitive and creative because they're in Pisces, and they're ready to change. They sense the change that's about to be happening, and they're into that. They're into this like lofty, dreamy state of, ooh, what are all the possibilities? Like, what could happen? What am I manifesting? And then we have Jupiter over here, and it's all about expansion, luck, opportunities. Like, what do we got going on? So it's somewhat similar energies, honestly. With Jupiter and Gemini, I will say it can be a little scattered. It can be a little overwhelming because it's like the opportunities are now multiplied. You can now see way more opportunities than you did before. It's kind of giving Seven of Cups in tarot. It can be unclear of which direction to head in, but you're wanting change. You're wanting change, you're wanting growth, you're wanting to adapt, you're wanting to experience something new. You're ready to close out this chapter. And there's a sense of needing to relate to how you're thinking, how you're communicating in a different way, and also how you expand and the opportunities that you take, engaging with that in a different way too. It's like you're having to show up in these two areas differently than you have before. And let's see. Okay, yeah. So in the mini scope, I'm going to go through what two areas of life you're going to need to kind of show up differently with how you're communicating and how you're expanding. But all this to say, we're going to be able to handle it, right? Especially when we know what's going on and what this energy is trying to teach us and what areas of life this is going to be impacting us. Because as we talk about that, I want you to think about what's going on for you in those areas of life and how you could show up differently in those areas. And I think a tip here too, when we have Mercury squared Jupiter, is like recognizing where we are lacking boundaries with other people and where we need to uphold our boundaries. And now is not a great time, like over the next few days, to make any concrete plans or commit to anything, because you may not have the full picture of what is actually going on, because there's like a murkiness, a haziness to this Mercury in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini. It kind of just seems like we're wanting to understand exactly what's going on. We want to have control over the situation, but it's kind of like we don't have control. So how we need to use that energy is use it to get creative. Use it to brainstorm the possibilities that you can later review and kind of edit with a more clear mindset. And you can also tap into your intuition too. And I would say writing down what's coming up for you and reflecting back on that, coming back to it and seeing how that actually played out and how true your intuition was. Okay? So we can definitely work with the energy. We can get creative. We can brainstorm. We can tap into our intuition, but we are likely not committing to anything over the next couple of days. We are trying to get more information or sitting with our intuition with the information we actually do have, and we can brainstorm. Okay? So let's get into our mini scope of where this is going to be showing up for you. So this is going to be where you're going to be brainstorming being intuitive, getting creative, and where you are expanding. But in these areas, you're not going to be setting anything in stone yet. You are just going to be in the haziness. You're just going to be in the haziness, okay? Because there will be some clarity. Okay. Aries, you're going to be combining your intuition and your expansion in your 12th house of your healing journey, your introspection and spirituality, as well as your third house of communication through your creative projects, your short distance travel, your local community, as well as like your siblings, cousins, and extended family. So let's go on to Taurus. There's gonna be one here where I will kind of give you an example of what this means. But the 12th house is kind of tricky to do that with. So Taurus, let's move on to you. Taurus, we have you're thinking about your friend groups, your hopes and your wishes, even like your social media platform, the communities that you're a part of. You're thinking about that in a different way. You're being more intuitive in that area. And you're also trying to expand when it comes to your second house of finances, self-worth, and what you value. So right now you may be noticing a lot of ideas and opportunities when it comes to making more money, okay? Or it could be expanding your view of your own self-worth and confidence, okay? And then you're also feeling a little bit more intuitive and thinking how you can be more creative when it comes to your friend groups, your communities and clubs and groups that you're a part of, and your hopes and your wishes. So there's a little bit of tension here to see the friend groups and all of that in a different light, and also just knowing you don't have to choose one opportunity right now when it comes to your second house's finances. Okay, Gemini, this will be happening in your 10th house, which is all about your career, your public image, and your legacy. And you're also like wanting to expand in your first house. So like how you present yourself out into the world, how your appearance, your personal goals. So you're trying to reconcile, you know, who you are as an individual versus how the public sees you, what you're known for. Cancer, this will be happening in your 9th house of spirituality, higher education and travel, and your 12th house of introspection, subconscious beliefs, and shadow work. Leo, this will be happening in your 8th house of intimate relationships, transformation, and mental health, as well as your 11th house of friend groups, communities, allies, hopes, and wishes. Virgo, this will be happening in your 7th house of one-on-one connections, contracts, clients, marriage, and your 10th house of career, public image, and legacy. Libra, this will be happening in your 6th house of daily rituals, routines, work, and your 9th house of travel, spirituality, beliefs, and higher education. Scorpio, this will be happening in your 5th house of creative projects, hobbies, pleasure, romance, inner child or children, and your 8th house of close, intimate relationships, vulnerabilities, transformation, and other people's resources. Sagittarius, this will be happening in your 4th house of home, family, and your sense of security. And your 7th house of closest one-on-one connections, clients, contracts, and other people's, and marriage. Capricorn, this will be happening in your 3rd house of your local neighborhood, your communication, your short distance travel, and your 6th house of wellness, health, daily habits, rituals, routines, things like that. Aquarius, this will happen in your 2nd house of finances, self-worth and values, and your 5th house of creative projects, pleasure, fun, romance. Pisces, this will be happening in your 1st house of personal goals, appearance, who you present yourself as out into the world, and your 4th house of home, family, and emotional foundation. I felt like that was kind of confusing. I hope you kind of got what I was trying to say with that. So, yeah, that's what we have. Okay, you're going to be feeling intuitive in one area, you're going to be feeling expansive in another area, but you got to reconcile how you're thinking about this. We might be confused, okay? That's what I'm trying to say here. We're going to be confused on Wednesday. Something might come up and we're like, wait, I wasn't planning for that. Now I have to cater to my one-on-one connection because something's going on at work that I got to go deal with. You know what I mean? Okay. Moving on. Tarot message of the week. So, let's see here. We got 3 cards. You're going to choose card 1, 2, or 3, just using your own intuition. And let's get into it. If you chose card number 1, you received the 7 of Swords reversed. And we love to see this one reversed because when it's upright, it is all about trickery, deception, lies, also strategy too, which is not a bad thing. But when we have this card reversed, it is all about truth coming to light. Releasing deception or taking off the rose-colored glasses and really seeing the reality of our situation. We are also facing, or if you got this card, you're facing the consequences of past actions or past decisions that you've made, and now you're seeing them through a clearer lens. And you're like, okay, I made these decisions based on who I used to be, not who I am today. So now I feel empowered to be honest with myself, with my feelings, be honest with the people in my life about what's real for me. It's really about being more transparent and more honest with yourself and with other people. And know that the right people in your life, or if an opportunity comes your way and you're making a decision differently than you had in the past, like, people will be understanding. Like, if you were coming from a truthful and honest place, all you can do is just express that you're trying to be authentic and genuine in yourself, right? And the right people, most people will be very understanding of that. Okay, so good luck. Like, honor your truth. Honor your truth. Okay, if you got card number 2, you got the 8 of Wands. And this is all about shit's popping off. Like, you got a lot coming your way. It's like it's like, I get the sense like you're stepping into your authority. You are taking action on projects that you've been talking about. Maybe you're receiving a lot of information that's helping you make progress and take action. Maybe you're receiving a lot of communication from other people. Maybe there's more social activity or networking for you this week. This is all about action and progress, clear communication, and it can represent travel, going somewhere new, or quick and sudden change as well. And I don't think it's bad change at all. I think it's related to creativity, it's related to passion and inspiration as well. So this week, you're gonna be getting shit done. So we love to see that. We love to see that. Okay, and then the third card, you got Judgment. So this is the only card out of these three that is part of the major arcana, which is more so about like major life themes that are happening. Whereas, you know, maybe with the Seven of Swords and Eight of Wands, this is just kind of like, maybe those are just stepping stones. But when we receive a major arcana, this is a big week. If you got this card, this is a big week for you, because Judgment is all about having like a spiritual awakening or a major realization. It is about self-reflection, self-assessment, forgiveness, and releasing past parts of you that are no longer serving you, and like letting go of an old chapter and beginning a new chapter. Like, this is all about being reborn, having a major transformation. So wow, if you got this card, let me know what's been going on. Like, what is going on? You have something huge that you are stepping into. So that's an awesome card to get. And I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I like to just take all three messages, and if they resonate, like if more than one card resonates with you, like take it. If it's a positive or if it's a message that helps you, by all means take it. So if we're looking at all three of these cards together, I mean, yeah, it's like, okay, maybe we're all getting a lot of new information this week, having new connections this week, taking swift, clear, concise action that is based on, you know, our heart, right? And with that, we're also being truthful. We're being transparent about how we feel and what we need and what we want. And through doing that, we are having this moment of, wow, like I am not the same person that I used to be. Like, I am thinking in a new way. I am feeling differently. I have different emotions that are coming up that are more positive emotions, hopefully. And I'm taking action in a different way. So through that, we feel like we're beginning a new chapter. We're closing out these old chapters, and we are moving into a higher timeline, if you will. And I love that for us. Okay, I think we're gonna have a good week. Like, don't get too bogged down with the confusion of Wednesday. Use it to get creative. Really set some time aside and like get a little witchy, but know that the clarity will come later. Okay, for our soul care inspo, as we close out today's episode, with the sun moving into Pisces, happy birthday Pisces, by the way, we are going to be our own muse. So we're gonna set aside 30 minutes this week simply to reflect on what emotions are coming up for us and what we want to create based on these emotions. So that could be writing, painting, creating music, taking photos, dancing. Literally, it can be whatever you want it to be. And honestly, I would suggest in that moment, you know, you got your 30 minutes, you're like, okay, let me intuitively feel of what's coming up for me. How do I want to express myself? What are these emotions? And how do I want to take those emotions from my body and make something out of it? Okay? So also what you can do is like, once you sit with your emotions and you're like, okay, like what is one of the emotions or multiple emotions that I'm feeling right now? Then you can create a theme. You can create a theme if that is helpful for you, and that will get your creative juices flowing, and you can figure out like how you want to express that. I don't know how else to say this, but I just know that my friend Shuba, she got me this healing like journal. It's Rupi Kaur, I'm pretty sure. But one of the first exercises was to, kind of just think about your trauma basically and draw something from that. And when I first got started, I was like, I don't know what this is going to look like. I kind of didn't have high expectations, but as I like created the drawing, I was like, holy shit, like I'm pretty creative. Like, wow, like I was not expecting all of this to come out of my brain, and it helped me process things that had happened to me in a way that I never had before. And literally I just took like 30-40 minutes to do that, and I don't know, pretty cool to be able to create something physical or even an experience from emotions that we're feeling. And it can put you more in your power as you're feeling and processing these emotions, rather than thinking, you know, these emotions are just happening to you, which it can feel like sometimes. Okay, next, Neptune conjunct the North Node. We will be experiencing that on Saturday, and that is a cute moment. It's a cute moment. I think sometimes with Neptune, it can create some haziness again about where are we going, what are we doing, what's the direction I'm going in, like is this the right direction? But we got to trust our intuition. So with this transit, you can do this at any time, honestly, but we're going to visualize our ideal future. So that book I was reading, or am reading, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. It's all about like meditating, but like visualizing what you want in your life and actually feeling the emotions tied to what you're trying to call into your life. So when we're able to imagine or visualize experiencing what we want and preemptively feeling the emotions we want to feel before we've received the thing, it raises our vibration, our emotions basically, and allows our brain to create new connections, new neural pathways, and believe in new possibilities. So this is a hack that I love to do, especially if I'm about to do something that feels challenging, because it helps me to see the other more positive outcomes that are just as possible as the negative outcomes that I'm so programmed to just assume are going to happen. So with this, you're just going to take a few moments to release fear, to allow yourself a few moments to be positive. Honestly, I know that sounds silly, but it's like, do you ever feel guilty for just things going well? Because I do. I do. So it's like we're so conditioned to think of the worst, I think sometimes, that it can be hard to even just like let ourselves daydream of the best possible things. So give yourself a few moments, just give yourself permission to daydream and think the best and be delusional if you want, like Jesus in these times, please. So we're going to release fear and we're going to allow ourselves to daydream being the person that has the life you crave. Or it's honestly like, can you see a version of yourself that, quote unquote, has their shit together, maybe just on the next level up from what you have now, or whatever. Like if you see yourself 2 years from now, like what do you think you're going to be doing? How would she be acting? They would be acting. And really allow yourself to like be in that moment. Be them. Be them. And reflect on how you feel as you're living their life, i.e. your dream life. Check it out. Check it out. Just see what it can do for you. Something like a hack, or like the reason why I've done this in the past is like, let's say I want to wake up early and go to the gym or go to yoga or whatever. And I have a fear that I'm going to snooze and want to sleep in. What I will do is before I go to bed, I will just visualize myself waking up and on time and feeling rested, and then I'll go like have my coffee and I'll journal and I'll have plenty of time to get ready and go to my gym class. And I visualize myself going to my gym class, how I feel in that class, like, and coming home, and now I have the whole day and I didn't I actually showed up for myself, like, and I feel those positive feelings. Every time I've done that, I swear I end up making it. I make it to the gym or yoga class because I see that it's possible. I see that it's possible. Okay, enough about that. Okay, our last one, our third one is with Mars moving direct in Cancer. That'll be on Sunday. So we're going to take this time to nurture our home and our inner world. So, as I mentioned earlier, since December 6th, we may have felt stuck or frustrated, but now that the plan of action is moving forward, we're going to have a greater understanding of how we can better take care of our private lives, our emotional stability, our home space, and how we show up for ourselves and the connections in our lives. This is all about creating a sense of comfort, safety, and stability for ourselves on a daily basis. So ask yourself, what would help you feel more nurtured on a consistent basis and not just waiting until, shit goes down to take care of yourself, Honestly, this sounds silly, but something I did this week was so stupid. I got those like, I don't even know what you call them really, but it's like for your laundry and you put it in and your clothes smell way better. Because I get like the lavender laundry detergent from Trader Joe's, so it doesn't really like smell like much. But I got this smell good stuff and it smells like fresh ass laundry, and it like, oh my god, it makes me feel like home. And I'm like, this is what I've been missing. Like I have not been doing this. Is this what everybody's been doing? Anyway, so now I feel cozy and I smell even better. Okay, that's what we got. Honey, I'm gonna be real. With Mercury in Pisces already, I'm feeling a little foggy. So that's what I got. I hope that was good. It was good enough because I got it done. It's something I'm working on this year because my rising sign is a Virgo and the South Node is moving through Virgo. So all of us really are meant to release this need for perfection and release rigid thoughts, critical beliefs about ourselves and other people, and yeah, again, just trying to do things perfectly and overanalyzing things. Like, yeah. Let's just get shit done. It's fine. We're showing up. That's what counts. All right. Well, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. And I'm glad that we got to hang out too. So I love you, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.